Distracted driving causes 1 in 5 deaths on Minnesota roads. In this half hour, we bring you the story of a man turning his personal tragedy into advocacy.
White Bear Lake was visited by royalty, all to help feed the hungry. We'll show you how local businesses help make it happen.
Welcome to Lake Area Beat. I'm Tracy Menarchuk.
And I'm Kurt Friesen. We're coming to you from White Bear Mitsubishi, where we'll talk with the general manager about how the dealership is giving back to the community.
But first, April is Distracted Driving Month, and more than 50 people are killed on Minnesota roads as a result of distracted driving. Texting while driving is illegal in Minnesota, but many drivers simply refuse to put down their phones regardless.
One man who suffered an incredible loss is turning his grief into action, working to change legislation. Producer Mary Klein and photographer Nick Anderson bring us this story.
Somebody's walking out of a bar and they've had too much to drink and they're a friend of ours, we take the keys from them, we get them a ride home. But if they walk out of that same bar and they're yakking on their phone and they get in their car, nobody says anything.
It's been nearly 2 years since we first met safety consultant Tom Geltz at his Hudson home where his daughter Megan and granddaughter Paisley once lived.
That's a 2010 Ford Fusion and they don't make convertibles, and it was totally, the top of it was totally gone.
Megan was killed in 2016, and though he says the pain is still raw, he's determined to bring some good out of the very worst a parent can experience.
When they say that when you lose a child, you lose part of yourself, that's exactly what I feel. And yeah, you know, I'll never get over it.
Drew Fleming, the driver who hit and killed Megan and her unborn child, pleaded guilty to 1 count of reckless driving, a gross misdemeanor. Although the Washington County Attorney's Office couldn't conclusively prove he was texting at the time of the crash, he was traveling at a high rate of speed, even after crossing into oncoming traffic, driving 75 yards in a ditch, and launching into the air, landing on top of Megan's car and pushing it on its side. Law enforcement failed to test for drugs or alcohol.
She died there. She died right there, you know, and as a father, you think you want to always protect your kids, and I couldn't. You know, I tried to teach her how to drive defensively and all, but she was totally innocent sitting behind a stop sign there. Never even know what hit her.
The judge in the case sentenced Fleming to serve at least 90 days in jail with school release, 2 years of probation, 20 hours of community service, and a $500 fine. Frustrated by the lack of consequences for distracted drivers, Geltz has pushed for a hands-free bill, but as he's learned, change comes slowly.
If we keep on with the mindset of we have to wait till we know everything, we're never going to know everything, so then we're not going to do anything. So then every time all these distracted driving crashes occur, you know, and we got a new family that's introduced to our Victims Advocate Coalition, we got to explain to them, yeah, we failed you, because now you're here too.
Geltz says his work has served as therapy, but admits sharing his story isn't easy, believing Megan is with him, helping to raise awareness so another family never suffers the same fate.
I've got some of them that I hand out to, schools.
Along with his wife Wendy, they plan to start a foundation focusing on drug and distracted driving prevention. And though the pain of Megan's loss is felt daily, Geltz says her death has changed his perspective on living.
People are scared of dying, and people don't want to die, but after this all happened, I'm not afraid of dying anymore. I'm not looking forward to it. I can't really say that, but I'm looking forward to seeing Megan and meeting my grandson someday. I think that'll be terrific.
Minnesota's closer to passing some legislation for hands-free devices.
Yep, and it's a good thing because there's so many distracted drivers out there. And in February alone, 15 troopers were injured in car crashes. And we also had a Wiper Lake officer that got hit in a crash. And just people need to pay attention and not just dart into traffic or expect other people to yield to them.
Right, yeah. And when you hear the lights and sirens coming, be aware.
Yes, get over.
Yes, exactly.
Get over now, please,
We
right?
see a lot of different issues as we're driving to scenes. So.
Yes.
Keeping in the theme of safety, Sergeant John Vetty has some ways to protect your home from invasion.
After a long Minnesota winter, spring break is a welcome change of scenery. But while you're at play, criminals are on the job. I'm Sergeant John Vetty, reminding you to safeguard your home before you head to greener pastures. Nothing ruins your great getaway more than returning to a burglarized home. A good first step is to stop your mail. Criminals look for untouched mail, flyers, and newspapers collected at your doorstep, so temporarily stop subscriptions. Make sure all your doors and windows are locked, and use metal rods to secure sliding glass doors. Make it appear your home by using timers on your radio, lights, and television. Have a neighbor keep an eye on your house, and if they're really nice, put your trash containers out on pickup day. Finally, don't announce to the world via social media you're away from home. Wait to share those pictures and stories when you return. Don't let this be the spring break you remember because your house was burglarized. Come home to security and hopefully warmer weather. I'll see you next time.
Bearl'y Open raises money to feed the hungry, but as our production crew discovered, it also raises spirits in the heart of winter.
Absolutely, it's fabulous out here. We can't get more Minnesotan than golfing on the lake. Happy Carnival!
Happy Carnival!
It's a Minnesota tradition, right? We all are a masochist. We're proud about how cold it gets here. 2 weeks ago, we were worried about the thickness of the ice. I don't know what it is today, but it's probably about 30 inches. And so we're here to celebrate winter and get outside because we've all been huddled away because it was so cold last week, and have a little fun in the winter.
Well, we're the pirates of bearl'y Lake. And we're here just representing Hallberg Engineering.
The people of the White Bear area community are crazy generous. Just a great group of people who really support anyone who's struggling.
We need to be helpful to our customers, helpful to our employees, but also helpful to the community. So it really wasn't much of a thought when we were approached to help.
What a great cause.
Ken Galloway has been involved with the charity for many years, and he's here to tell us how much money was raised to help the food shelf. Thank you so much for being here, Ken.
You're quite welcome.
Ken, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved with the Bearl'y Open?
Sure. So I'm the original organizer. I've spent my career starting out as a chef and private club manager. So food, feeding people has been a part of my life, pretty much my whole career.
Okay. And what role do local businesses play?
Well, local businesses in White Bear Lake, of course, are always really good about getting involved with community organizations and charity events. So, their roles, sponsorships is a big thing, of course, like most events. We really rely on the local businesses for their sponsorships. Participation, volunteers, So without the local businesses in White Bear Lake, this wouldn't be possible.
And so briefly for our viewers, if they're not familiar with the bearl'y Open, what is it and how has it evolved over the years?
Sure. Well, bearl'y Open is a golf tournament on frozen White Bear Lake. So it's evolved like most of these events evolve. We started as an idea in a meeting and started going with White Bear events, and White Bear Lake Rotary were kind of the two main drivers of the event. And it's, we started fairly small, but we grew quickly, and now it's become quite an event in the wintertime here in White Bear Lake.
And how much money has it raised over the years and maybe just over this last year?
Well, we raise cash. So due to the purchasing power of cash, the amount of cash we've raised to date has allowed the food shelf to buy $1,250,000 worth of food for people
that's
in
amazing.
need. Yeah. This current year was about $175,000.
Wow. And you recently had a sponsor that backed out, and then White Bear Mitsubishi jumped in this year, so to speak?
We did. Our signature sponsor, for corporate reasons, had to back out fairly late in the game. And the awesome folks at White Bear Lake Mitsubishi, of course, jumped right in and said, yeah, we're in. We're glad to help you. And so they really saved the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And what does the money and the level of involvement say about the character of like White Bear Lake businesses? I mean, that's an awful lot of money that's been raised.
Right. Yeah. So, well, those of us that live in White Bear Lake, live and work in White Bear Lake, we already know what an awesome community is, right? So, the White Bear residents and businesses always get behind great causes. And in White Bear Lake, what I've noticed is the community really, really supports the food shelf. And so the food shelf being our benefactor for this event, we don't have a lot of problems getting people to get enthused about the event, which is really great.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
How about the, what does it mean for the clients? If you didn't have the bearl'y Open, would that affect the White Bear food shelf, and how?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for our clients, this is their lifeline, right? We are a bridge for people that, trying to get by in certain circumstances. We serve over 1,000 families a month.
Wow.
And so, we're there to help people that really have that need. It's a temporary need for most people, but, the gratitude is unbelievable when, so we're really there helping people. This is as far as organizational events that contribute to the food shelf, this event contributes the largest from community events. So.
And I think a lot of people think of food shelf maybe around the holidays and wintertime, but the need is year round.
Well, not only is the need year round, but most people tend to give at the holidays as it is, which is great. But the need, what we really need is summertime and some of those other times where people don't think about contributing to a food shelf. Mm-hmm. Kids are out of school for 2.5 months in the summer, and a lot of them rely on the meal programs at their elementary schools, for instance.
Right, because they're not getting food from school at lunchtime or snacks and stuff, so they need it at home.
Yeah, so the food shelf in White Bear Lake, which has just done some phenomenal growth and improvement in the last 10 years, has all kinds of creative programs now to deal with those needs. And so events like this are really critical.
Yeah, well, we thank you so much for being here. Yeah. We thank you so much for the bearl'y Open and everything that you've done to help our food shelf.
Yeah. Oh, you're quite welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, if you'd like to volunteer at the food shelf, there are always opportunities, and of course, they're always accepting donations. And it's John Sanders' Take 2.
Coming up after the break, we hear about a call early in his career that made a lasting impact.
I sometimes see you pass outside my door. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes, I can see it in your smile. You're all I've ever wanted, and my arms are open wide. 'Cause you know just what to say, and you know just what to do. And I want to tell you so much, I love you.
may recognize our next guest. He was featured in a story on this show after he donated to our department's CERT team, and he's done it again.
Richard Herod III is the general manager of White Bear Mitsubishi dealership.
And thank you for getting us out of the cold and rain today and allowing us to be inside. So we appreciate taping inside whenever we get the chance.
Our pleasure, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit of the history of the dealership and how things have been going lately?
Sure. Well, this dealership started as a Saturn dealership in 1990. And in the last almost 30 years, this dealership has helped sell hundreds of thousands of vehicles and helped perform many oil changes to local community. And with that being said, in 2010, we switched to Mitsubishi when GM ended the Saturn franchise.
Okay.
And luckily, most of our employees and most of our customers stayed with us. And because of that, over the last 9 years, we've grown to be the number 2 Mitsubishi dealership in the country. So,
Oh, wow.
so it's been pretty exciting journey.
Yeah, yeah. How did your sponsorship with the Bearl'y Open come to be?
It started with an email. I was just sitting on my phone and, of course, Facebook this, Facebook that, and all of a sudden an email popped up, and it was from Lisa, and she mentioned that the sponsor for last year's Bearl'y Open had canceled at the last minute, and they were in desperate need of a title sponsor for the event. And I responded right away and said, sure, let me know what you need. And she's like, the full amount? And I said, sure, we'll send you a check. No problem. So
Perfect.
I guess that's how it started.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
And you guys have sponsored other things, our CERT. You've also donated some cute little Mitsubishi bears to our department that we give out to kids. If we deal with tragedy with kids and stuff, it kind of helps them to get either blankets or bears. So you've done that, but you've done other things as well.
Yeah, we actually have sponsored bulletproof vests for canine dogs in Ramsey County. So we try to be involved in the community as much as possible. You'll see us at Market Fest. You'll see us kind of all over the place.
Perfect.
Yeah. We see the bear.
Yeah, yeah. We got to ask, who's beneath the bear costume?
We can't tell you that. It's one of a few different people, but typically it's either an employee or someone who works at our advertising agency. If it's in a parade, it might be a summer intern. But we never disclose, like Goldie the gopher. We never unmask who's inside the bear.
And apparently there was something that happened at Bearl'y Open with the poor bear.
Yeah, so the bear is ironically not that good on ice. And, we had a video go viral once because of that. But he was swinging a golf club on ice and he completely ate pavement.
Oh, the bear's okay.
He's fine. Well, luckily the costume provides enough padding.
Nice.
So when he falls face forward or falls backwards, the person inside the bear is fine.
And I think the bear has done the polar plunge too.
Yeah,
right?
every
For
single
Special
year.
Olympics.
Yeah, we've been doing the polar plunge.
Nice.
Every year, I think, for the last 5 or 6 years. So.
And so where does the spirit of giving come from?
Well, one of our values at our dealership is the value of being a good community citizen. And for that purpose, we believe that in order to be present in the community, it requires us to be present with our time, with our money and our resources. So, we look for ways to give back whenever we can because this community has been so good to us. I mean, and our customers have. I mean, when you have a franchise change, from Saturn to Mitsubishi, it was one of those moments where, okay, how's this going to go? And,
right.
The community and our customers followed us and they've helped us grow. And we're actually in the middle of a big remodel project right now because we're doing so much express service in our lube bay.
Yeah.
We actually do almost 1,000 oil changes a month on all kinds of cars. So because of that, we had to double our customer waiting area. So hopefully that'll be done next week.
And so that's what we're in the middle of here.
We're in the middle of a construction zone. So we're outside of the weather, but we're inside a construction zone.
And apparently it's no stranger to have cameras in here and you're doing commercials all the time. How is that for you when you're, in public somewhere? Do you get recognized?
I do. I forget that I'm on TV just because it's my job. Mm-hmm. I don't walk around saying, hey, I'm that guy on TV.
Yeah.
Because people typically interrupt my dinner to tell me that I'm that guy on TV. But most of the time, they just want to ask me where the bear is sleeping or where is the bear or anything else like that. But, I think it's all in good fun. I mean, I'm on TV with a 7-foot tall mascot.
Yeah.
So I should expect it.
Right. Brings a lot of attention.
Yes. We appreciate all that you've done for the community and for our department and helping with CERT and giving back to everybody in White Bear and White Bear Lake area. And we appreciate you allowing us to be here today.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. And if you'd like to come down and check out the Mitsubishi dealership, they're located on Highway 61.
Many take for granted the difficult nature of the work first responders do, but some of the calls we take can stay with us indefinitely.
We got to know Officer John Sanders a little on the last episode of Lake Area Beat. But in this segment, we got a little deeper into the ways the work can stay with us long after we've left the call.
You never really know what the next call is going to be, and so the emotional toll that it can take on you can be overwhelming. When I was in field training, rookie officer, second month on the job, it was February evening, middle of the night, and we had a car accident. Came in a vehicle versus a tree off the interstate 694 White Bear Avenue, and that someone was in the vehicle trapped, and the vehicle is now on fire. The flames were very aggressive, and my partners and I deployed several fire extinguishers to try to put the fire out, but it was just a very intense fire. We couldn't get her out of the car. She was pinned in the driver's seat, and so it was a very difficult call, being anyone in law enforcement, but especially a rookie police officer. So that was very early on in my career, and it has forever been a part of my career, and trying to make traffic safety a very top priority for me.
Camaraderie is such a huge, important part of the White Bear Lake Police Department that I would say there's not one specific person that is a go-to for me. I would say that it's a collective group of people you work with, supervisors, administration. Everybody as a whole is who I reach out to when I'm looking for advice on something, or if I have a question about a call. It's really we're a team. The entire White Bear Lake Police Department is one team. We carry body cameras on us as White Bear Lake police officers anytime we are on patrol or out in the community and we have any kind of a call for service, a contact with the public, such as a traffic stop or an investigatory stop of a citizen, maybe 3 a.m, walking in the middle of the road or something. Anytime we are interacting with the public outside of just normal driving or going to the gas station to get gas, we are required to activate our body cameras, and that has cut down on complaints towards officers. If I could go my entire career and never discharge my weapon, I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, as police officers, we're here to help, and we want to never have to use that force. But it's the reality of the job that there are bad people, and sometimes bad people do things that are horrific, and you have to stop that threat.
Thanks again to John for spending some time with our production crew, and thanks to all of you for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Just about 10 miles north of here.
What you got there?
I think he's going to be an issue, so I'm going to just put him out in the garage. He'll be all right.
He's
You know,
fine.
he wants to play. Come on.
Oh, yes, he does.
Come on. We're working now. Come on.
Oh.
Come on. Give me that. Come on.
Is there any strategy to golfing with tennis balls on a lake?
Well, you gotta meet for mimosas early in the morning at the local bar, and we did that. So we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I was about ready to say walk.
So what do the people back in Texas think about?
They think we're absolutely crazy, nuts, and I send pictures all the time just to make them laugh.
White Bear Lake was visited by royalty, all to help. See that dash through me?
Tea.
Yeah, you're such a talker.
Now, we've seen you in commercials, we've seen you around the community, we see you at the Polar Plunge. Are you ever without your sidekick, the bear?
Well, I mean, the bear has to sleep sometimes. I mean, I get heckled at the airport or at the food store. People are like, "Hey, where's the bear?" And I'm like, "Well, he's sleeping." So you can't, so he's either hibernating or sleeping or he's running around.
Brilliant. That was
Oh
really
my
good.
God.
That was
Wow.
really good. That was a lot of words.
Well,
that was a lot of,
Unhook it,
that
I'm
was
done.
perfect.
I nailed it that time.
You nailed it.
Early's tough words.
Yeah. All of them are.